All three victims were in contact with each other, comparing notes. We know this from their phone records. After their December 10th meeting with Dr. Reibold, they agreed to an experimental treatment, which in actuality was simply twice the usual dose of chemo. The following week, he upped it to 3 times the amount. By the time they wound up in the hospital, it was at 7 times.
Because they confronted him about what he did and he was afraid of being exposed.
Objection. Counsel is testifying.
Sustained.
In your investigation, did you find it suspicious 3 patients met with the doctor one day?
Objection. No one knows what transpired in this meeting.
That's because everyone in that meeting besides Dr. Reibold is dead or in a coma.
Your Honor.
One more time, and you're in contempt.
Could the amounts the patients received have been lab mistakes?
No, Dr. Reibold's signature was on every order.
Well, what about a dosing error?
His staffer testified that Dr. Reibold personally administered those doses.
But the staffer cut a deal.
That doesn't mean it wasn't the truth.
Objection. Improper opinion.
Sustained.
What about any other witnesses?
Asked and answered.
Yes, Ms. Shelby, move on.
Your Honor, someone has to speak for these victims.
You don't speak, you ask questions. And if nobody else saw the doctor dosing...
Someone else did. Me. I saw Dr. Reibold dose a patient. My wife. I saw Dr. Reibold dose my wife, Camille, who died of cancer under Dr. Reibold's care 6 years ago.
Sergeant Voight.
I'm a witness. I saw him dose a patient.
State has no further questions for this witness?
Well, I have a few. Losing your wife to cancer must have been very painful, Sergeant. Can you talk about your wife's illness?
Camille was referred to Dr. Reibold when her ovarian cancer returned. He recommended an aggressive course. And then the second round, when that didn't get it all, she was cold all the time. Couldn't keep food down. Memory went in and out. She was depressed. She fought as hard as she could, but...
She sounds brave.
She was.
You're still in mourning over your wife's death. Isn't that what this is about?
No.
How gratifying would it be to help convict Dr. Reibold?
It would be very gratifying.
No further questions.
For all his victims.
I said no further questions. You answered exactly as I expected you to.
Redirect. What other victims are you referring to, Sergeant?
Objection.
Ms. Green questioned my witness about one prior patient, Camille Voight. Now she opened the door to the other 42 patients he treated.
She's right. Overruled.
What other victims?
Helen Graham, Nia Felton, Priya Parvati, Ann Gamerman, and 38 other people. This doctor diagnosed with cancer they didn't have and treated with chemo they didn't need.
And how do you know this to be true?
Because he said so himself in court under oath.
Objection.
Overruled. Continue.
Dr. Reibold confessed to personally poisoning 42 patients, ruining their lives, terrifying them and their families. And he did it all for a payout. And he admitted to all of this as part of a deal he made with the state of Illinois copping to fraud.
This deal, Sergeant Voight?
That's the one.
The state would like to enter into evidence case number 111496 and amend its witness list by 42 people.
On the count of narcotic-induced homicide of Danielle Frank.
We find the defendant guilty.
On the count of narcotic-induced attempted homicide of Carol Shepard.
We find the defendant guilty.
On the count of narcotic-induced attempted homicide of Leah Kamen.
We find the defendant guilty.
Defendant is remanded into custody until such time as a sentencing hearing is scheduled. Bailiff.
Hank, your wife did not suffer needlessly. You have to believe me, the cancer did come back. I never harmed Camille. These patients, I was their only hope. They got years because of me. You can't put someone away for saving lives. You can't! I wasn't harming them, I was helping them. Helping!
You're swimming, that was so good. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I'm not swimming.
You sure are. He's gonna get you.
How did that feel?
You sure were. He was holding onto my suit. Awesome.
We forget something. T! What's the T say? T. Good. What's this letter?
You.
U. You want Dad to open a present? Let Dad open a present. Give it to Dad. Give it to Dad. This is for Dad.
Here, Mama, you can film. Okay. You can help me?
Yeah.
Help me.
Help you?
Hi, Annie.
There's Mama.
Merry Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
I love you.
I love you.